Good evening, I'm Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. Malaysians are starting to get the hang of the movement control order. I mean, it's approaching 2 weeks, but we're not out of the woods yet. Ready for phase 2? Here's what you'll need to know. After 2 weeks of life under the movement control order, the second phase of the order will commence on April 1st, which will go on for another 2 weeks if not extended. According to Defence Minister Ismail Sabri, while movement is still permitted, the government will restrict the number of people in privately owned cars to one person. Apart from that, he said the National Security Council has also decided to introduce more restrictions during Phase 2. These restrictions will include a dawn-to-dusk operating hours rule for all shops, supermarkets, hypermarkets, food and beverage shops and petrol stations.
Walaupun kita benarkan operasi untuk makanan yang berbungkus, yang dibungkus untuk dibawa pulang, waktunya adalah daripada 8 pagi hingga 8 malam. Operasi stesen minyak juga dihadkan daripada jam 8 pagi hingga 8 malam. Jadi standard kesemua yang menjual makanan, keperluan harian dan sebagainya adalah pukul 8 pagi hingga pukul 8 malam, termasuk penghantaran ke rumah dan sebagainya.
Taxi and e-hailing services will also see reduced hours from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. However, the operating time for public transport providers from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. remains unchanged. Meanwhile, Ismail said the public are advised to shop online instead of going out. However, he said the public should avoid coming into contact with the delivery personnel by issuing instructions to leave the food at a designated area at the drop-off location. Phase 2 of the MCO to limit contact between healthy people and those infected with the deadly COVID-19 virus will last between April 1st to 14th. Almost 2 weeks into the movement control order, Malaysia continues to record triple-digit daily increases in new COVID-19 cases. But we also recorded the highest number of single-day recoveries. Malaysia has recorded a total of 2,626 COVID-19 positive cases, with the addition of 156 new cases as of noon on Monday. Health Ministry Director General Nur Hisham Abdullah in his daily briefing also reported 3 new deaths, including one which was announced last night. This puts the death toll at 37 or 1.4% of the total number of cases. The number of patients in the intensive care unit ICU also rose from 73 to 94. Those in ICU require ventilators to breathe increased from 52 to 62. On the bright side, Nur Hisham reported the highest number of daily recoveries today, with 91 people discharged. This brings the total recoveries to 479 people, or 18.2% of total cases.
Our detection of positive almost about 8%. So every 100 people that we test, 8% will be positive. So this is why we are doing the active case detection. We detect them, we find them, we test them, and then we isolate and we treat them. So as long as we are within the range of about 150 to 200 cases, that we have not seen an exponential spike of the cases. Unlike other countries, we can see the exponential spike. But nonetheless, we are prepared for the worst. That's the reason why we are ready. We have the beds ready, and we have all the temporary hospital, and even our Institute Latihan Kementerian Kesihatan, we also have 19,200 beds ready for that. So we are prepared for the worst, but we hope for the best.
If you think the order is making your life difficult, imagine what the folks in several villages in Hulu Langat are going through with the enhanced movement control order. This used to be a sleepy village, but not anymore after enhanced movement control order was enforced in Sungai Lui, Hulu Langat, after more than a quarter of residents at a religious school were infected with COVID-19. According to the government, the latest enhanced MCO will apply to the areas from Batu 21 to Batu 24 of Sungai Lui in Hulu Langat. This came after the Health Ministry confirmed that there were 71 positive COVID-19 cases from among the 274 residents of the Mahat Thafiz An-Nabaya at Batu 23, Sungai Lui. The announced MCO will affect close to 4,000 people in 700 homes and 7 villages. They comprise 2 Orang Asli villages and 5 traditional Malay villages. Inspector General of Police Abdul Hamid Badur, who visited the area this afternoon, said PTR will make sure that the order is followed 100%.
Okay. There are no troubles yet. So far, alhamdulillah, so far no. No, so far no. I think more or less, I think the people in their minds, they know what to expect when this thing is being what we call enhance di MCO ya. Ini dah masuk ke tahap kedua dah ya. Tahap kedua kita nak perketatkan lagi lah.
This is the second enhanced MCO to be enforced after the two villages in Simpang Renggam within the Kluang district on March 26th. Zuraida Kamarudin is leading the effort to disinfect public places, quite literally too, by personally hosing down several houses in the Klang Valley.
A nationwide drive to disinfect public spaces began today with a focus on COVID-19 hotspots. The sanitisation works began in 6 areas including Lembah Pantai, Petaling, Hulu Langat, Seremban, Johor Bahru and Kluang. These places have recorded the highest concentration of COVID-19 cases. Disinfection works were also conducted at Al-Falah Mosque at Sungai Ramal Dalam, Kajang. Housing and Local Government Minister Zuraida Kamarudin, who today oversaw the disinfection process in Kajang and Petaling Jaya, said the operation is being led by the Fire and Rescue Department. They are being assisted by Solid Waste and Public Cleansing Management Corporation (SW Corp) and local governments. The first phase, said Zuraida, will be done concurrently in all red zones and followed by orange zones in the second phase. She said the facilities of focus include public fixtures, markets, walkway, transportation hubs and other related places. Similar works will also be done at People's Housing Project (PPR) in red zone. She added that for private premises, sanitisation works must be done by their respective owners.
Politics has no place in the fight against COVID-19. This is why opposition MPs will not be left out from receiving federal funds. Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin has agreed to channel 100,000 to each opposition MP to deal with the COVID-19 crisis. This was revealed by PKR Subang MP Wong Chen today on a Facebook post. He also shared the confirmation email, which asked opposition MPs to propose projects or programs that they want the federal government to fund. This comes after the Perikatan Nasional Government initially cut off the annual allocation of opposition MPs, a similar policy carried out by the Pakatan Harapan government when it was in power. Wong said he will meet with his officers on the best way to distribute the aid and also to engage the state assembly persons and community leaders under his constituency. Wong Chen had previously said the Pakatan Harapan government failed to do the right thing by ensuring equal allocation to both government and opposition MPs. He said when they won in 2018, the Harapan leadership decided to punish the then opposition by limiting the operational budget and denying them community funds. While Harapan MPs got 300,000 to run their offices, the opposition got only 100,000. Then Harapan MPs received 3.5 million ringgit to spend on their community, while the opposition got zero. Jogging may be good for your health, but jogging during the movement control order may end up putting you in jail, and jail isn't going to be very good for your health.
Consultant cardiologist Dr. Ong Kian Teck, who insisted on going for a jog amid the movement control order, was slapped with 2 charges at the Penang Magistrates Court this morning. According to news reports, he claimed trial to the charges under Section 186 of the Penal Code, which provides for imprisonment of up to 2 years or a maximum fine of 10,000 ringgit or both if found guilty. The magistrate set bail at 13,000 ringgit and set June 9 for the matter to be heard. The court also ordered the 60-year-old doctor to surrender his passport and to report to the police station every month. According to the charge sheet, Ong went jogging alone at a recreational park and had argued with the enforcement officers that the MCO was not a curfew. A recording of his argument with the enforcement officers went viral, leading the police to investigate the doctor for violating the MCO. Meanwhile, Defence Minister Ismail Sabri said many Malaysians are still flouting the MCO despite the authorities taking stern action. Last Saturday alone, he disclosed a total of 649 people were arrested.
Coming up next, the death toll in the US may reach 6 figures if proper measures are not in place. Don't go anywhere. This next story is brought to you by Blue Air. To stay or not to stay home. Initially, Donald Trump expected things to go back to normal by Easter, but that doesn't look like it's happening. The stay-at-home guidelines for Americans have been extended until the end of April by US President Donald Trump. This comes after a top medical advisor said that more than 100,000 Americans could die from the coronavirus outbreak. Initially, Trump planned to get the economy up and running by mid-April. Trump's U-turn came as the US death toll topped 2,460 from the respiratory disease, according to a Reuters tally, with more than 141,000 cases, the most of any country in the world. Earlier on Sunday, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, told CNN that the pandemic could ultimately kill between 100,000 and 200,000 people in the United States if mitigation was not successful. Fauci softened his dire predictions at the Rose Garden briefing, saying they were based on models that were run to show the worst-case scenario if Americans did not follow the stay-at-home directives. Trump's surprise suggestion that he might order the reopening of the economy by Easter had been greeted with sharp and immediate criticism from the state governors still grappling with the rising numbers of patient and health systems stretched thin. The governors of at least 21 states, representing more than half of the US population of 330 million, have closed non-essential businesses and told residents to stay at home. Asked during the briefing if floating the idea of lifting restrictions by mid-April had been a mistake, Trump called it just an inspiration and said now he believed the country could be on its way to economic recovery by June 1st. New York State on Sunday reported nearly 60,000 cases and close to 1,000 deaths. New York City will need hundreds of ventilators in a few days and more masks, gowns and other supplies by April 5th, Mayor de Blasio told CNN. New Orleans will run out of ventilators around Saturday, Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards told CBS. Maryland arrested a man who reportedly violated the ban on large gatherings by hosting a bonfire party with 60 guests, Governor Larry Hogan said on Sunday. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, whose state has become one of the fastest-growing areas of the coronavirus, especially in the county that includes Detroit, called the rapid spread gut-wrenching. The strict stay-at-home rules meant the usually bustling New York, like many other major cities in the US, was largely quiet on Sunday, except for the sound of ambulance sirens.
COVID-19 may have originated from China, but now it's finding its way back.
A growing number of imported coronavirus cases in China, where the epidemic originated in December, risked fanning a second wave of infections when domestic transmission had basically been stopped, a senior health official said on Sunday. The National Health Commission said on Monday that 31 new coronavirus cases were recorded on Sunday, with all but one involving travellers from overseas, dropping from 45 cases a day earlier. China had an accumulated total of 693 cases entering from overseas, which meant the possibility of a new round of infections remained relatively big, according to the NHC. Nearly a quarter of those came from arrivals in Beijing. Restrictions on foreigners entering the country went into effect on Saturday, and airlines have been ordered to sharply cut international flights from Sunday. Meanwhile, life is almost back to normal in the city of Wuhan as the city began lifting a 2-month lockdown on Saturday by restarting some metro services and reopening borders.
见到家里人是很开心，然后刚才也是和母亲说的一样，想去拥抱。
After being cut off from the rest of the country for 2 months, the reopening of Wuhan marks a turning point in China's fight against the virus, though the contagion has since spread to over 200 countries.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Michael. Thank you for watching.